Hey, it's me. I know I haven't been around for a while, but that's simply because I've been coming up with new ideas of things to review and things to do, which I've decided to add to my channel. Now, a couple of days ago, which was February the 19th, which was the Wednesday just gone, that was my 32nd birthday. So, happy birthday to me. And on that, I have decided to, I know it's a bit of a weird thing, but I've decided I'm going to make a birthday cake for myself. Now, the reason behind this is about a month ago, I had been planning to make a special birthday cake for my dad. But rather than making a massive cake, I decided to make an individual one. Now, I'll show you the moulds in a minute, and I'll explain the reason behind them. But the prototype, which was my dad's birthday cake, turned out really, really well. So I've decided I'm going to make the rainbow cake, which I am going to show you how to make in a minute. Now, I have never tried this before, so I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but I got this from the Good Food website, which I'll add the link when I've uploaded this. And right, the reason for them is these. These are actually ceramic molds that you tend to get when you buy baked camembert, you know, the stuff you put in the oven, that sort of stuff. The reason behind it was when me and my wife held our New Year's Eve party, we got asked by my sister-in-law to have some of this at the party. And then whilst I was washing up the following morning, I actually was thinking whilst I was washing the actual mould up itself, you could probably make a cake out of it. So I now have 4 of these moulds. I've had to buy 4 packs of this camembert, and I hate the smell of this stuff. It stunk so badly in my fridge. But the upshot of it is I can actually do what I planned on today. Now, I'm going to have to apologise for the lighting because, well, I'll show you why. My kitchen has got obviously the big fan, and then it's got underlighting. Now, if I turn on the ceiling light, if I turn the ceiling light on, it actually causes the extractor to come on, and it's really, really loud. So, unfortunately, I'm unable to do that. So, in order to make, like I said, I've never made this recipe before. So I'm going to have to read out from the script. So it says, you need 125 grams of softened butter, which is here. So 125 grams of softened butter. 225 grams of plain flour, which is in the big tub. Actually, I'll just show you all of it, it's probably easier. So 125 grams of flour, which is in the actual tub. Now I'm actually using flour that's already got baking powder in it, but you can do it the old way. 150 grams of golden caster sugar, 3 eggs, and it also says you need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, and vanilla extract. Now, like I said, I'm actually going to be cheating slightly because I've actually got some of it's already mixed in. So let's get cooking. Okay, so to make this recipe, apparently you have to add in all of the dry stuff. So that, for instance, is the flour, which I'll go through again, which is 225 grams of plain flour. But as I said, I am actually using extra fine sponge flour, which has already got baking powder inside of it already. The sugar, which is 150 grams of golden caster sugar, so all that goes in. Excuse me for the mess. Then you need to add in the 3 medium eggs. Apparently it's very important to use 3 that are medium size. I don't quite know why. So they all go in. They just love the dribble of eggs. No, I don't. And then you need to add your butter. Now this hasn't been out for very long, so I am going to hopefully not screw this up. Actually, it's not that bad. Yeah, so dice it up nice and small if you can. It just makes it a bit easier, so when you're actually blitzing it all together, you know, it doesn't clump up and get stuck. So all that can go in, break it up as small as possible. Ugh. I love cake, but I hate this bit. Okay, and then you need to put your oven on at 180 degrees, which I've just done. Now it says to mix all this up until it is nice and smooth. So, back in a moment. Okay, I've been mixing this for a couple of minutes now. It's starting to become a bit smoother, as you can see. A minute ago I was sitting there thinking it's not going to make that much of a mixture, but you should be okay. I should also point out, me being an idiot, I haven't actually added something. I was supposed to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now I haven't got vanilla essence, I've instead got vanilla flavouring. And since I'm not a cooking program, I can actually show you what the stuff is. This is from Sainsbury's. So this is 1 teaspoon, 1 very big teaspoon of vanilla essence going in to the sponge. I might actually put it. Right, there we go. And then just mix it back up. Come on you go. Right, and then put it back in and then mix it up until all combined. Okay, as you can see, that is all nicely now mixed all together. And what you then need to do is, using a rubber spatula, the guy or girl who invented this is possibly the biggest genius in the world. Because since I got this, it has made me doing all cooking and such just so much easier. Because I have to spend far less time mucking around trying to get it all off the sides, etc. Now, what you then need to do is, in 4 bowls, which I will show you in a moment. So, 4 bowls. Right, so in the 4 bowls here, you need to spoon out exactly 2.5 spoons full of the mixture using a tablespoon. So, bear with just a moment. Okay, due to possibly a good bit of luck, I have got exactly the amount I need, which never ever happens. Now I've decided that I'm going to, as I said, this is a rainbow cake, so I've got some gel food colouring, which is from Sainsbury's again. This is the Dr. Oetker stuff. It comes in a variety of different colours, but for this one we've got orange, yellow, blue and purple. Now what you need to do is you need to put in, it doesn't actually say how much. Like I said, I'm doing this from a cheat sheet. Okay, basically it says just use as much colouring as you like. So, here's what it turns out like. Okay, much time has passed, but it has taken a bit of work, but I've managed to get all the colours to actually become even in kind of depth, I suppose is the phrase, with one exception. So, for instance, we've got the orange one actually looks orange, purple one, well, there's a reason why I've gone for darker colours actually, because obviously you need less stuff to mix up with. The yellow one actually took a whole tub, well the whole tube, and bear in mind the tubes are only, and it's the blue one, are only that big, so that's probably about the length of my index finger. And the blue one, now the blue one for some unknown reason turns green. I don't think Dr. Oetker is aware of that, but if he is, he's probably none too fussed. So, here's the next part, and this is where it gets a bit tricky. What you have to do is, I'm going to lift you up for this bit, is get that into them. Now I pre-crunched all this paper into it last night, so it will stay, so if I take that out, that one out, it's still in its shape and I can just plonk it back in a lot easier. Now my oven has been ready for about 15 minutes, so it's nice and hot. So we're going to put all this into the moulds, and then we're going to whack it in the oven. Okay, here we go. So we have the 4 mixes now all coloured up and all put into moulds. So this is now going to go into the oven for 180 degrees for 12 minutes, or until you can put a skewer in and they all go and they're all clear all the way through. So there you go, really. And then with ye olde egg timer, 12 minutes exact. So see you in 12 minutes. Okay, update. I've just pulled them out of the oven, and I think the temperature on that is actually a bit wrong because you can't cook a cake in 12 minutes. So I've warped my oven up to 200 degrees, and I'm going to try it again in about 15 minutes and just keep doing it up until, you know, obviously they're cooked the way through. So I'm going to do this video in two parts. I'm going to do one which is the actual baking, and then one which is actually the decorating, because I can only limit mine to 15 minutes per video. So when I pull them out next and see if they're alright, we'll go from there. See you in a bit. Okay, it's been about 35-40 minutes, so I'm going to pull these out and see how they're... Bloody hell. They've risen. I had to move them around slightly because I checked them out and they were still gluey. However, as you can see, we got the purple one, the yellow one, the orange one and the blue one. Now you have to obviously feel the inside, see if it's done. And as far as I can see, yep, these are all cooked. As you can tell, there's no stuff on the knife. So what we do here, this is where it gets a bit awkward, is... Now the other problem that I have is because these are ceramic items heat up really fast, so the best way to take these off is with tongs. However, saying that, I have got to then take them out of their moulds, only to put them back in later on. For basically, you have to take them out of the moulds so they obviously cool down. However, you're going to need this mould later because I've got to then level it off, which I will do later. Okay, now all the cakes have been taken out of their mould, out the baking paper. As you can see, I've done all that, and they're kind of, yeah, they're all cooked and all that. So the idea for this one now is we're going to have to level 3 of them off. No, we're going to level all 4 of them off for the sole purpose that when I come to actually put the fondant on, it needs to be level, otherwise it will just break. So what we'll do is we'll see, but the reason that we need to keep these is because this makes it easier just to cut. So this is how we're going to do it. Okay, as you can see, I've taken the tops off. Well, I've leveled off these 3, except for this one, because this one was rounder than I had hoped. So that one's going to be our top. So in theory, our cake is going to look something like this. And then the beauty of it is you get to eat these bits separately, which is all good, and then you get to eat that later, which is even better. But that is actually about as level as I can make it. It can be rearranged if needed, but we'll go from there. So I'm going to end on this part. So part 2 will be fonding the fondant and the icing of it. So come back for part 2.